Yeah, we've got loads of cheddar. Okay, full cheddar.
Okay. Hiya.
The camera's decided to focus on the mixer.
Okay.
Once you're back in shot, I'll adjust it.
Hi Sue, hi Jan, hi Melody.
There we go.
Okay. I have like all my ingredients out on here. Tons of stuff. Right, well we've got quite a few watching already. Come and say hello if you're watching. And we'll get started. You won't hear much from Ella for the next few minutes. She's got a lava cake in front of her.
Perfectly fudgy.
Okay. We shall get started. So, Bread Chat episode 2. We did a couple of weeks ago the standard loaf. Where's that come from when it's not on the comments there?
What?
Am I not seeing comments? Yeah, I'm not seeing
yeah,
comments.
your comment feed is frozen.
My comment feed is frozen. Sorry, folks. If you're commenting, I can't actually see it.
That's right. I'll highlight the comment because you can see highlight comments.
I can see the highlighted comments. Yeah, that's weird. My screen. So put those back up because I didn't see the names. So sorry. Who are we? CC Rotherham. Hello. And Sal. Hi, Sal. Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, we did the sort of like the plain loaf, so the standard low carb loaf.
I've just got a Wi-Fi signal.
Oh, I haven't.
Yeah, but your comment feed is frozen, so
Yeah.
hopefully everything's going to be all right.
Anyway, so I thought we'd do some flavoured ones because obviously we do a couple of different options at the bakery. One of them, there's barely any change. It's just an addition of ingredients. The other one, so I'm going to do the Cheese-Mite, which is really straightforward. But then I'm going to do the cinnamon, and that one is a total change of recipe because you need to add so much in the way of cinnamon and sweetener. If you just did it to the standard recipe, it doesn't quite work because you want it a little bit more dense, more of a. And I'm going to use ground almonds in that one as well this time round, so it's is more of a cakey bread rather than a, bready bread. You know what I mean? It's a bit disconcerting that I can't actually see any comments. Is there anything happening? Because
I've not seen anything now.
okay.
Okay.
Oh, suddenly they've all just come crashing through. We've just got signal. We've been reconnected.
Helen, I'll take notes for you.
A bit of both. But the cheesy one, the Cheese-Mite is dead easy. There's not much to adjust. So we'll get started. So we call it Cheese-Mite. However, we use sort of one of the sort of shop brand ones. What is it that's in Marmite that we don't?
Oat.
It's oat, right? Okay, I couldn't remember. I was talking about it.
Obviously, there's gluten in it as well, but you're
putting in a gluten loaf. But there's oat in the Marmite, so we use the one without oat. So I mean, it's your choice. Wheat, okay, wheat. Thank you, Sue. I couldn't remember. So going to get the ingredients ready. Now, the only difference here with the liquids is that I'm actually going to mix the mite, whatever you're using, in with the water first. Just it then obviously means that it's mixed thoroughly throughout the loaf, rather than it being sort of sporadic and little patchy. So I only really use about 10 grams of Marmite per loaf. Obviously, if you're making it at home and you want it stronger, then, feel free. Come on, 0. Hang on.
So, Helen and anyone else who was thinking of needing to take notes, I'll pop the link to the base recipe in the comments. I'll just add these notes to that same recipe page.
All right. So with the Cheese-Mite loaf, the Cheese-Mite, I'm going to make 2 portions worth because I'm going to use a stand mixer. It doesn't coat well with just one, so I'm going to do a double. So I'm going to make one into a loaf and one into rolls. So 1 portion loaf, 1 portion rolls. With the cinnamon, I'm just going to make a smallish one to fit into a small tin. So it's like effectively a 1 pound tin. Right. Okay. So I'm just getting. Right. Okay. So I've taken I'm going to do 2 lots, aren't I? So I need 20. There you go. I'm going to leave what was on the spoon. It's about 20 grams. So if you want to start scraping it around, there you go. It's just over 20 grams. Yeah, and then I need about 400 mils of warm water. I don't need to add it all in here now. I just want to add enough to dissolve the yeast.
So on the recipe page with 170 grams of gluten, would this be 10 grams of Marmite?
Yeah. So these are it's the exact same recipe. We're just adding in a couple of ingredients. So we're making the Marmite part of the water. Yeah. Hi, John. Okay. That's about mixed enough. Okay, so 0. Liquids in first. Add a little bit more to get the little Marmite at the bottom. This is good. Fantastic. So we want 440 mils in total of warm water. There we go. Right. There we go. First stage done. Olive oil. You can use any fat if you want. If you want to milk butter, that's fine. I've never tried it with lard, but I have seen many recipes using lard in bread. Do you know what? It'd work in this one. There's no reason why it wouldn't work in this. Poulet tea today. I'm avoided the coffee. Right, 15 grams per loaf, so we're going for 30 grams. There you go.
You've avoided the coffee.
Yeah, I didn't have coffee.
Since 3 p.m. Because I think you were drinking coffee.
No, it's tea.
when we were-
No, it's tea.
When was the last time you had coffee then?
Well, the PT crew got the brunt of my coffee intake this morning. Okay, so the only other liquid that you could add if you want here is the apple cider vinegar. It's not needed. It's there as a preservative. If you want to sort of try and preserve your loaf for a few extra days, then it's just 5 mils of ACV. However, I do need eggs. 2 eggs per loaf. So, if my maths are correct, I need four eggs. Savage. That was definitely a word to describe this morning session. Came out of nowhere, that one. Right, come on, you two. In you come. Come on, both of you. Come on in. Off you go. Bed. All the way through. Right, okay. Yeah, it's because I'm doing this constantly. Maybe Lindsay went wrong. There, fine. Linseed bread rolls. Okay, linseed doesn't rise that much, mate. It is quite a dense loaf or dense bread. So it because it only has baking soda in that one.
Baking powder.
Baking powder.
And optional addition of yeast.
Yeah, so it will never. It doesn't rise like a. It's more like a soda bread style, isn't it? It's a dense.
Well, if they've gone flat, then I'd say there's maybe something wrong with the
baking powder.
Or if you've added the yeast, check the yeast. As in, just try a new brand and see if that makes any difference. If they've stayed the same shape as when they went in the oven, then I wouldn't say there's anything wrong with the ingredients. I just think they're quite dense. But if they've gone flat, then there might be something wrong. That pancake.
All right, dry ingredients. So I've got the wet in there. No. They're both just what, Dad? What's wrong? Oh, God. Coco wants to play with the rope now. Right. Okay. So I've got numerous bags of gluten here. So following the recipe online, we're going to add the cheese in sort of in a bit. So 340 grams of vital wheat gluten. So that's that bag done. That's another bag.
You have cheese with you.
We're not having this bloody cheese.
Posh.
Yeah. So I've got some Red Fox, Red Leicester to add into the loaf today. Right. So 340 gluten. Now I'm going to leave that to the side for now. I'm going to get everything else in first. The rest of these ingredients I put in together. So this is exactly how we do it at the bakery. The gluten goes into one box, everything else goes into another box, and the gluten goes in last. Just helps with the mix, keeping it nice and smooth. Right, so we're using linseed in this one. You can swap. This is one of those ingredients that you can swap around. So if you don't like the taste of linseed, then you can swap it for ground almonds. You can swap it for sunflower seeds. You can swap it for lupin. Any other suggestions to swap it for?
Oh, you said ground almonds.
Ground almonds, lupin.
No, that's what I can think of.
It should be. So 120. So again, 60 grams per loaf. This does provide it a bit of, obviously, it's bulk and a bit of texture. Oat fibre. You have to be careful with oat fibre. If you use too much, you will make a house break. It's super absorbent. Coco, you've just come in. No, back over there. Off you go. Pair of them are flipping idiots. 20 grams of oat fibre per loaf, 40 grams. I'm good at my maths today, aren't I? Oh, no, she's gone to see Ella.
Yeah, hi. You can't get any higher.
A little bit of psyllium husk. Oops. Again, 5 grams per loaf for this. We use the whole husks, but you can use the powder in this. So if you've got the Holland and Barrett version of psyllium, or you've bought psyllium powder because it was cheaper than the husks, it will work in this type of bread. So it's just 10 grams. There you go, just about. I'm not sure if my feed is frozen again or you're all being quiet, but I can't. There's no new comments coming through, so I'm just going to crack on. Salt.
That's what I can see is Sue saying nice to the cheese.
Yeah, so you do need salt, and we always add salt to the sweet stuff as well. There's always a touch of salt that goes even into the cinnamon loaves, or it goes into. Hi, Jan. Yeah, thank you for letting me know that you're still there. You want a good 3 to 4 grams of salt per loaf. So don't be shy. Yeah, that's all I'm saying. You will notice the difference if you don't add enough salt. There you go. Right. I think I've got everything apart from the yeast. Right, and again, yeast is. I've got here a baker's yeast. It's quite a strong yeast. It's a fast-acting yeast. It doesn't need activating. You don't need to sort of let it sort of stir it with some water beforehand. It goes straight into the mix and it ferments in the loaf instantly. So you don't need to sort of do anything in advance for this. Depending on the yeast that you're using, you will use between 3 to 7 grams. So I use 3 in mine because it's quite I've got bones. It's quite an intense yeast. So you have to be careful, and it may take you a couple of goes to find the right amount. Believe me, I've had many a night where I've been trying to work out, is 1 more gram too many? Even with Marmite, yes, even with Marmite. So you still need it. It's surprising how much the loaf sucks up the flavour, the taste. Right, so I've got 6 grams of yeast in there. This is across 2. I think I've got everything now. I'm following the recipe online because normally I'm making it in bigger batches, so I don't know the small numbers. I only know the big numbers. Right, okay. So to this, I'm going to add some grated cheese.
So I've received an update from Louis.
Oh, right. Oh, so by the way, we're a house of 2 and 2 for a few days. Louis is going away to Poland with his girlfriend and family. So go on. What's the update?
It just says here now.
Here now. Right. So
that means he's at the airport.
All right. So we're going to get about 4 updates from Louis in the next 10 days. We've had 1. They're at the airport.
I've had 2. I got going to the airport.
Oh, right. Oh, wow.
And then an hour and 40 minutes later,
he's being chatty.
Yeah, and I said, have a nice flight. And he goes, thanks. Gates show at 7 and flight is at 7:45. So we'll get another update at about 7:45.
Yeah.
Leaving now.
And then the update saying arrived. There'll be no conversation. It'll just be that. Right. Again, per loaf, I use about 20 grams. All right. So.
Oh no, my live stream's gone all pixelated.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Funny how my internet symbol's gone now.
Right. I'm only grating cheese. If you can't actually see me because it's all gone funny, then don't worry. Nothing too exciting. Gone blurry, yeah, we know, Sue. We can see the Wi-Fi warning. Blur. Yeah, great band.
John, you've gone all wobbly.
I've gone wobbly. No, I haven't gone wobbly. I've just gone a bit fuzzy. I just need a little bit more. Maybe that was that little chunk that I ate. All together now. See, and Ella's got no idea what you're on about there, Jan. Keep waffling. Yeah, I know. It's the usual story. It'll come back in a minute. All right. I've got 40 grams of cheese. It's in with the dry mix. It's better to put it in now than to try and get it into the dough once you've made the dough, all right? Hello, that's how I feel most of the time.
Have you got your new glasses?
No, I've not had a chance to get down there.
Oh my god, somehow the blur's got worse.
Oh, blimey. Oh, I need to start that mixing. Let's get into that. Okay. So the liquid is an interesting colour, all right? So it's not your usual bready-like colour, but obviously it's going to make the whole loaf rolls sort of a dark brown. So in with the dry mix.
How much cheese?
20 grams per loaf. If you squint, it's clear. And then in with the gluten as well. Well, if they stayed open longer than 5:30 or opened earlier than 9 o'clock, I might have a chance of getting down there. All right. I've used the paddle just to get it mixed in, not to knead it. So it's just mixed in. Switch it for the hook. Stick it back on. All right, who's going to do a timer for me? Because I can't bother to set. She should not be named. 5 minutes, please. Right, while that is mixing, I saw somebody mention about them not having a stand mixer and can they do it by hand. So we'll do the cinnamon one by hand. The cinnamon one, we do adjust the volume of gluten that's going in to compensate for the cinnamon and the sweetener. So let's get the. So rather than it being 100, so I'm doing a slightly smaller loaf as well. No, I'll leave it as one portion. Come on. Right, I'll leave it as one portion. Just so you make an average size loaf. It's around about sort of 580, 590 grams to start with, and it will reduce down to about 500 gram loaf once it's been baked. So rather than it being 170 gluten, it's 160 gluten. Not a huge difference, but it does make a difference, believe me. Alright, so 160 gluten, again, keep that separate for a minute. That's looking good. Right, so for this one, we're going to use ground almonds instead of golden linseed. So 55 grams of ground almonds. And the cinnamon loaf is definitely denser. It's not a light fluffy loaf. It is more solid. Still 20 grams of oat fibre. You can't hear. Right, has anyone been timing this? Because can I turn it off yet? I'll pause for a second while it continues to mix. I'll go and find this breaker. Two minutes to go. All right. I'll go make another cup of tea. It ain't going to need much longer. I can sort of see it. It's all come together. Done. Right, thanks, Sue. I'm not a fan of the sound either. It's just awful. Awful. Right, I'm just going to let that sit there for a minute. And then we'll get it out of the mixer. Okay, so we're still fuzzy. It looks like we are.
We are, but I don't have a internet issue signal anymore.
You don't? Okay. I mean, I've still got the issue.
It's not as bad as it was.
Right. Okay. It hopefully will clear up in a minute then. Right. I've got the ground almonds in there. Let's do the oat fibre. Oat fibre is exactly the same, 20 grams. All right. So Sandra, this is what I'm doing with this one. I'm doing this one by hand. So 20 grams of oat fibre. Right, cinnamon. 23 grams of cinnamon. I know it's a bit of a random number, but you know what? I can't remember where I hit, how I hit 23 grams. It was just lots of development, and I think we were doing on boxes, and this is what it works out per loaf. So 23 grams of cinnamon. You could do this with mixed spice. If you wanted this as a mixed spice loaf, then just swap the cinnamon, straightforward cinnamon out, and just add mixed spice. It has worked. I have tried it using as a chocolate loaf. It wasn't sweet enough. Cinnamon and mixed spice work. Chocolate one wasn't quite enough. Your verbal description is so good that we don't need to see it. You mean I just talk loads of random nonsense? Right, so cinnamon 23 grams, and to match it exactly with sweetener, 23 grams. What? Good evening and welcome. Hello, Cat. Where have you been? You've missed the first 35 minutes.
How much sweetener, sorry?
23 grams. All right. Working down the list. Psyllium husk, 5 grams. Actually, yeah. Who remembers Fuzzy Felt? That was like one of the best Christmases ever, wasn't it? Not. You got bought a box of Fuzzy Felt. Cinnamon sweetener, yeast. Now, I tend to keep the yeast the same. If you want this a bigger loaf, then maybe go with a bit more yeast. But I still stick to my 3 grams in this. For me, I prefer it, as I say, as this dense loaf. More like a malt loaf sort of density rather than a bready loaf density. Right, and we still want to add some salt into there as well. RG's sort of just standing at the side of the table here because he knows that there's cheese knocking around. He's hoping that while Coco's out, he gets some cheese, aren't you? Right, okay. That's all of those ingredients. I need a third bowl, don't I? Because I need a... let's use the glass mixing bowl. For this one, rather than oil, I'm going to use butter. I'm going to quickly whack it in the microwave and melt it. That'll do. Still need my 2 eggs. Could you put dry cranberries in it? Yes. I mean, you can get dry cranberries without... Oh, you can actually make your own, actually. It's probably easier than finding them without sugar. Not sure if we've... I'm trying to think. Have we found them without sugar?
No. I've made them. They take quite a while.
Yeah, they take quite a while to dehydrate.
The ones that we've found. I mean, I suppose you could use freeze-dried.
Yeah.
That would probably be easiest to find without sugar added.
Yeah.
If you're just looking at dried, then usually they're as high
They're always
55% sugar to
yeah.
it.
I feel variations, yes, sort of. Ella's just writing the recipes up as we go along. These are just the recipes that I use at the bakery for the Cheese-Mite and for the cinnamon loaf. Sort of.
So they're all sort of on the same link. So this link will take you to the base bread recipe, and now it also has the additions we've been adding as well.
Can anyone see the glass jug with the... Oh, there it is. Now, obviously, we're not going to get to see the finished products. Hi, Margaret, today. I'll prove them during the evening. We're going to go for a dog walk in 20 minutes. And I'll probably bake them when we're in the live later on. And we'll post about them sort of later or tomorrow. Phil loved the video of the pizza a couple of days ago. Very artsy. It was great. Did you see Phil's video?
No.
He made it's chef. He made pizza.
Oh,
that's the video, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I've melted some butter in there. Hi, Joanne. Eggs and water. $200 grams of the dough. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I use about 160 when we make our pizza bases, so 200 would make a good share of pizza. Who can get red berries, not cranberries? Can you? I don't think you might get them frozen, but I don't think you...
Well, I've seen them as part of the mixed fruit bags that we get.
Yes, yeah, you can get them frozen, but you can get them singly, as in not as a mixed fruit bag. Right. Butter, eggs, water. The water is, I think it's the same. Yeah, 265. No, because this is, hang on, I haven't adjusted for the egg. 220, still 220. So this is 1 loaf So okay. Our Wi-Fi is not working very well either, is it still? Tried the tuna and broccoli fish cakes and added sumac spice. You used to eat a lot of sumac spice, didn't you?
No, you're thinking of harissa.
Oh, it was harissa, yes. Would it work in bread? Yes. I mean, any spices would work in the bread. If you've got a spice mix that you like the chili mix, that's great. You could use a smoky paprika and garlic, blend. Make your own. I mean, you don't have to just stick to making a standard loaf. You make pizza bases out of it. That'd be an amazing flavour for a pizza base. Right, okay. All the liquids are in. Feels strange not using the oil. I'm looking at it thinking I've missed the oil out, but I'm not adding oil to this one. Everything's going in. So this is the cinnamon. Yeah, jalapeno and chili. See, the chili bread is great. And I have added jalapenos to some of them when I was making them. Going to give it a mix first. Get the cinnamon mixed in all the way through. Just before you get the gluten in, otherwise you end up with little pockets. You get patches of. Oh, there we go. Wi-Fi signal's gone. Am I clear now? Someone tell me I look okay again.
You're about 90% there.
I'm about 90% there. I'm making the cinnamon into a loaf, mate. So just a single loaf. The Cheese-Mite, which is sitting in here at the moment, I'm going to do it in both. I'm going to do rolls and the loaf. Okay. Right, nearly in. I'm now going to no stream images. Just to save me faffing around, and it is quite sticky. So if you're going to do this, by hand, then you might want to get a couple. Get some sort of vinyl gloves. It's just a little bit easier for speed and for less mess. Yeah. So get in there. Get all of that gluten mixed in. We are going to let it rest for a minute while I deal with that one. It is very sticky to start with, okay? This is why having a stand mixer makes this particular part easier, because you need to work at it quite hard to sort of get it to that non-sticky stage. Okay, so that's come together. Still very soft, quite warm as well. But it's got no real structure to it yet. It's just trying to pour through my hands. It's just not holding at all. So we're going to let that sit for a couple of minutes. Are you going out now?
Wi-Fi signal's back.
Signal's back. Right. Go on, off you go. All right, time for Cheese-Mite. Let's get this one done. Okay, so this is, don't forget, this is the 2 portion. So loaf and rolls. So I'm going to just break it up into, we'll weigh it up and see how much it is. You can sort of see the difference between sort of the I hope you could anyway, between the cinnamon one, which was basically just pouring out my hand, and this one's got much more structure to it, so it's firmer. You can feel it's firmer. I mean, it makes a great loaf for that. But we will cut it down. Don't want to do the rolls with you. Have you seen the stupid thrift store study? Yeah. Right. Do you know what? I've seen a couple of posts about it, but I haven't seen the study at all. And I think somebody posted then Ken Berry. Whether it was a rebuttal or not, I don't know. It doesn't surprise me that a study's been done with people that are already ill, and then apparently it's not good for you. There you go, 600 grams on that side, 640 on that side. 600 gram loaf to start with. Now I'm going to put this in the Ninja loaf tin. This reminds what, wearing blue gloves, Kat? No, I don't need to line this tin. This one, this one's fine. I would recommend if you're not 100% sure that your loaf tin is not non-stick, I would line it. I'm going to give it a bit of gluten now. Give it a bit of a push. I'm going to let that grow. And at the end, before it goes in the oven, I'm then going to add the cheese to it. So I'm going to cover that over. I'll find something in a minute. And I'm going to let that prove for a couple of hours. I mean, we know from last time round, you can leave this, and I can leave this for 12 hours, come down tomorrow morning and bake it, and you got fresh bread. As long as it's covered, as long as there's a nice seal over the top. Doesn't have to be, I would say, it doesn't have to be airtight. It has to be sort of close to it. The boxes that we stack are not exactly perfectly airtight. So just cover it with a tray or something just to protect it. And then in the morning or whenever you come to sort of like bake it, once it's risen, score the top. Right, the rolls. And I didn't quite do this right last time, and I regretted when it was baked because it didn't look great. So we're going to use.
You're going to use the bigger tin.
You what?
You're using a bigger tin.
I'm using a square one. I want to use one of the. You know what? That'll do. I was looking for a sort of baking tray, but I've got the cake tin. But this will be ideal. I want them to have room to grow. So they need room to prove and then room to grow when they're baked. It's about. I mean, I'll probably get 5 in there out of this. What did I say it was? No, it's too heavy. 650. It's got to be 6 then. Right. So again, with these, you sort of, this is quite soft dough again today, but you want to be rolling it. If you let it sit for a bit longer, it would firm up. But we're just trying to sort of get the nice shape. I'll do the finishing bit once I've weighed them out. Let's do that first. 2. 3. Mine was cooked for 10 hours and grew loads. Yeah, I mean, it's great if you can leave it for... just leave it for a long time. It's just a better flavour as well. 100. Just over 100. Oh, yeah, there's the big one. There's the one I missed. Just over 100. Right, okay. They're all between 105 and 110 grams each. There you go. Nice and easy. Just thumbs on top, fingers underneath, and just roll it. So you're pushing the side into the middle underneath, and it'll get. You want sort of like a nice tight sort of roll, yeah. That way it will sort of form a shape. And it will grow evenly. These are savoury. So this is cheese and Marmite, Miriam. I mean, if you were paying attention, you'd know that. Just saying. Give them a couple of inches space between them. I suppose, I mean, I haven't seen that study, but I suppose with the studies, who's funded it? Whose best interests are served for people being scared to use something like erythritol? Right. Now the cinnamon ones are behind me over there. This is the cheesy one. I want a different tray. I'm not putting 5 or 6 into that one. We've got millions of trays in this house, and I can't find them all the right size. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Got it. Got it. That's what I was looking for. That's what I was looking for. I can get all 6 on there. However, I am going to line it. Perfect. There we go.
Kat asks how long do you last for without going like rock pebbles?
In the fridge, they'll last ages. The loaf that I made 2 weeks ago was still in the fridge. One of them, anyway, because I made 2. One of them was still in the fridge on Monday, and it was perfectly soft. So again, we're going to cover that somehow. I'll find the tub to go over the top of it, let it proof for a couple of hours, and then before they're baked, we'll top them with a bit more cheese. Right. And then this one, back to the cinnamon. It's only been resting a few minutes. It's bread
in it.
It's bread in it, yeah. It's we need to knead it a bit more, don't we? Okay, it's gone firm. I can feel that already. It's not as liquidy. How long are you going to leave all of these before to proof? Do you know what? Probably for the most of the evening, Phil. We're going to go out for a walk in a few minutes with the dogs. We've got member session at 7:30. So I'll see how well they prove. If they've not risen enough, I'll just leave them until they do. So it could be tomorrow. So yes, you can freeze any of the bread. You can freeze. So certainly, if you're making it yourself, I would recommend you make it and freeze it. The loaf that I stuck in the fridge was just in its bag. It was just in a bag. It wasn't even sealed. It was just sort of rolled, and so yes, it was protected from the air. You sort of see it's definitely holding its shape more. So previously, it was trying to sort of just sink out of my hands. So it's now. And again, with this, you can treat it like a big roll. Give it a little bit of work just to sort of tighten it all up again. Now that's going to be too big for that tin. So I'm going to use the Pullmans. I'm not going to put, do I put the lid on it and see what happens? I've just seen the lid. Maybe that was a sign. We're going to line it. I'm not a fan of these Pullmans. I've never really had much success with them. But I'm going to line it. I tend to line the tins for the cinnamon. It is a little bit more sticky for some reason. Yeah. So I always tend to line those tins. There you go. I mean, again, it's not exactly airtight. It's, you know, it's going to cover it well. Hopefully within a sort of 2 or 3 hours, that's proved quite nicely. And we'll just see. Right, I've made an absolute horrible mess.
Ooh, clay.
Uses what, clay pots?
Well, should we like clay
Yeah.
tin, clay trays?
Yeah. Phil, do you use the you make soda bread, don't you? Do the little baskets? I've always wondered. Never tried that actually. Wonder whether it would work for us. That's not Louis, is it, by any chance? He's not messaging me, is he?
No.
Okay, that's fine. Right. We will report back. I've never used. I presume clay is going to have a better residual heat. Yeah, but I'm not sure. Excuse me. What did she say?
Miriam. No idea. It's bread, isn't it?
I'm not sure what difference it would make. Yeah, it would be interesting actually, mate. I've never got a basket and tried it. Obviously, all of our breads are baked in the sort of tins, the bigger version of these. But it would be interesting. I don't see a reason why it wouldn't work. It's just would it be any better, or would it be beneficial at all? Right. I'm going to have my tea. We're going to go for a dog walk, and then I can come back and I can have my dinner. And then we'll, as these things grow, we'll post some pictures and let you know. As was mentioned earlier in the chat, if you want to add your own seasoning flavorings to a standard loaf, you don't need to change the recipe at all. So the Cheese-Mite loaf, we haven't changed the recipe. It's just a small addition of flavors. If you're changing it for something like the cinnamon one, there's quite a lot of cinnamon and sweetener gone in. If you just stick to the same recipe, it doesn't quite work the same. So you do need to play around with it. The best source of information for any health conditions is to go and have a look on the Public Health Collaboration website, YouTube channel. That's not something that I'm even qualified to talk about or know anything about. There are many UK doctors, scientists, professionals, actually medical professionals, collaborating with Public Health Collaboration. So head towards their site, start digging around their YouTube channel. With any luck, you'll come across one of there's hundreds of presentations on there. So may just take a little bit of searching to sort of find the right information.
Put a link into the YouTube channel there.
Right, brilliant. Right, we're done. I have nothing to show you apart from blue gloves and a cup of tea. When's Bread Chat 3? I mean, I'm not sure what the other Bread Chat could be, because Panda is just the mix, not a recipe. Wraps can't really do here properly. Who's cleaning? Yeah, you're looking at him. Sourdough, right? I've never made a sourdough, and I know that there are some low carb versions of sourdough. We have made a starter previously. maybe I need to talk to Phil about making a low carb sourdough. See how that works. And if it works, we'll come back. Yes, I know. Still waiting for Tex-Mex. Me too, Miriam. Me too. Never happened, did it?
You could do. We've got Q&A next Friday, but you could do next Thursday, 5 o'clock.
Are we talking Tex-Mex or are we talking meals to cook with bread? Like a pizza.
We could do what we used to get at the festivals, you know, when they do the big end of the crusty baguette and they put Tex-Mex chili inside it. So you get a bread bowl with the chili inside. I don't really know how you do that.
Oh no, the bread bowl. Yeah, sorry. So make a round loaf and then scoop the whole lot out. Yeah, you could make one of those, but the loaf would have to be made in advance. Mex bread nachos. Have you just made something up there? Right, we'll have a think about what we can combine bread and Mex with. I'm sure there's something. Thank you very much. Me and my blue gloves are going to go now. Are you on over the weekend, or is...
No, Sue and Tracy live at 4 on Sunday making angel mousse trifle.
Excellent. See you this evening, members, 7:30, if you're going to come in. Or Sunday morning, one session on Sunday morning, one PT session. Because Louis is away, I'm having to fill in dog walking duties because the two dogs combined weigh more than Ella. So
my laptop's just died.
It's not quite possible for her to take them both out at the same time. So, right, anyway, I will see you all later. Thank you very much for joining in.
You're going to have to end it on your
No, I am. Have a nice weekend. Bye. I've got no mouse, or it's not reading my finger.
Yeah, no, I saw the mouse.
Yeah.